Hi, I'm Gareth, and in this video I'm going to say something about practice, which is something of course that all musicians know a thing or two about. Malcolm Gladwell in 2008 published a really interesting book called Outliers, and the basic premise in this book is that if you want to get really good at something, then you need to put in 10,000 hours practice. Well, 10,000 hours, I suppose 10,000 is quite a big number, isn't it? But maybe you might look at it and think, well, 10,000 hours, yeah, okay, I'm up for the challenge. Let's see if I can get this cracked. And after 10,000 hours, maybe I could be the world's greatest concert pianist. Well, pause for thought, and I don't want to put anybody off, but if you were to do an hour a day, well, actually 10,000 hours is going to take you about 27 years. So that's quite a long time. Not unreasonable, maybe. Well, okay, maybe you're thinking, well, I'll shift that up to 2 hours a day. Then it will only take me about 13 and a half years. Still quite a long time. Though I don't think that is an unreasonable timescale for a musician. Now, it's an important thing to realise because so many things these days are very quick fix things, aren't they? How quickly can I get this or get qualified at that? And you can do a 6-week course in something, get a certificate and you're on the road. If you want to be good as a musician of any instrument, but perhaps instruments like the piano more so, actually there's a huge amount of work to go in. So I'm not doubting what Malcolm Gladwell is proposing in any way, that practice is essential if you're going to get good at something. I remember having a plasterer to come to my house to plaster a wall, and he was chatting away about the football, and he chucked a bit of stuff in a bucket and he poured a bit of water in, and then he started slopping stuff all over the wall and not really sort of seemingly even looking at what he was doing, chatting away all the time. And when he'd finished, in a matter of no time at all, we had a perfect, flat, smooth wall. Well, I know what would have happened if I'd tried doing that. I'd have looked it up, I'd have researched it, I'd have measured out exactly the quantities required. I probably would have spent all morning on it trying to get it right. And there would have been lumps all over the wall. It probably would have slid down the wall because I had the mixture wrong, and it would have been a complete mess. So how come he can do it and I can't? Probably something to do with the Malcolm Gladwell theory of 10,000 hours. That guy does it for a living every day of his life, and he just knows exactly how to do the job. It's a kind of truth, isn't it, of humanity. We're creatures of habit, creatures of repetition. The more we repeat something, the better we get at doing it. So there's no doubt at all that practice is essential. But is practice itself the only element? Well, I want to start by saying it's not just practice, but it's quality of practice. That's important because it is actually possible to practice very earnestly doing the wrong thing. And I've met quite a few people who are in that boat over the years. They come along to me and they say, you know, I've been working on this for years and I still can't play trills, for example. And then they sit down to play a trill, and the first thing they do is the shoulder goes up and everything's very tense and tight and the wrist is locked and the fingers are locked in a position, and then they're desperately trying to play a trill and they've been practicing it forever. It's never going to work because actually they've been practicing the wrong thing. So the right kind of quality of practice is terribly important. I quite like to swim sometimes, but I'm not a very good swimmer. The quality of my swimming is poor. So I can go up and down the pool. It takes me a long time, but it never really gets any better because no matter how many hours I put into it, I'm not putting any quality practice into it. Mainly because I'm actually quite happy just to stooge up and down the pool. But if I wanted to get good at swimming, I would need to put in some quality practice in order to achieve that. And of course that leads on to the next thing, which hopefully is entirely logical, and it's about teaching. Can we do all this stuff on our own? Well, actually that's pretty difficult. I mean, these days there are a lot of resources, aren't there, particularly online, that are going to help us, give us all sorts of pointers and ideas and encouragement, and that's all wonderful. But the quality of teaching, in the same way that someone going about the trill in the way I've just described, you could have a teacher actually who's not terribly confident about what they're doing, may not be helping you to go about things in the right way. So quality of practice is going to be related with the quality of teaching. I'd also maintain that for youngsters, for children learning to play, the role of parents is terribly important. Even though parents might not be experts, they may be, but they might not be, just the encouragement to get children into a routine, a regular routine, to start knocking off their 10,000 hours of practice, and maybe just to look at maybe notes that a teacher's made, or if they were present in a lesson, just to pick up the threads of that, and just to encourage their youngsters to go in the direction that a good teacher has set. Parents obviously have a role in that. And then what about this area? Because this is another critical one, isn't it? Natural talent. Well, I freely have admitted that I have no natural talent in plastering walls or DIY in general, and I have no real natural talent as a swimmer. But it's a good thing we're all different, because other people do have those talents. Such talents that I do have are perhaps directed musically. And I can remember growing up as a young musician, without being arrogant, I hope, but thinking, why is it that I can sort of do some of these things and don't really worry too much about it, where other people are really sweating to get something achieved that seems fairly straightforward to me? Well, and there are plenty of musicians out there who've got much more natural talent than I have. It just seems for some reason to come to them very easily. And you've all seen performances where some tiny dot has got on the piano and played like a whiz. And you think, how on earth can they play that kind of music of that difficulty so expressively at such a young age? Well, that is natural talent. It's probably got these other things going with it as well, but it's certainly about natural talent. Now, does that mean that if you haven't got natural talent, that you might as well pack it in and take up something else? I don't agree with that in the slightest, because I think it's absolutely wonderful that there are millions of people around the world playing the piano, being musicians, who maybe are not the most naturally talented people in the world. But does that matter? It certainly doesn't, because as long as they're enjoying what they're doing and they're getting something back in terms of quality that's added to their life, well, it seems to me that's an absolutely wonderful thing. If you're aspiring to be a professional musician, then you're going to need this in droves. But it doesn't mean that you can't be absolutely fully immersed in the world of music if you don't have that natural talent. So let me please not put anybody off in what we're saying here. The important thing is to enjoy what you're doing. So in summary, do we need to do 10,000 hours practice? Well, I haven't done 10,000 hours of practicing as a plasterer or as a swimmer. The result is I'm no plasterer and I'm no swimmer. But I suppose if someone pushed me, I could have a crack at plastering the wall. I'm not sure what the result would be, but I'd give it a go. I'm no swimmer, but I still go to the pool sometimes and just swim up and down, and I find it a relaxing thing to do, and it's sort of quite helpful in terms of a little bit of fitness. So, it has its quality. So could you be a pianist without doing the 10,000 hours practice, without having to commit to an hour a day over 27 years or 2 hours a day over 13 and a half years? Yes, you definitely could. So please don't let that notion put you off. If you want to be really good at what you're doing, there's definitely truth in that. And actually the deeper truth is that it will go beyond 10,000 hours, because even the best pianists in the world are still practicing decades later, still improving what they're doing. But the quality of practice, the quality of teaching, the engagement of people around you, like parents in the case of youngsters, and this element of natural talent that will be there if you want to do this professionally. They're also associated ingredients. And just that caution about actually doing things incorrectly, actually not helping you to progress. You can do 10,000 hours of something the wrong way and you're still going to be stuck in square one, which can be very depressing. Now, we have actually got an online course at Music Matters on effective practice. So if that's something that you'd like to have a look at, go on the website and have a look and see what that's about. And it may help in these kind of areas to make sure that when you're putting in some time, whether it's 10,000 hours or more or less, that the quality of what you're doing is well directed. And that's the purpose of that course. But the most important thing I can say at the end of all this is 10,000 hours or not, natural talent or not, enjoy making music. And the more you practice it effectively, the better you'll get.